What's going on with Starfield? Well, nothing good, obviously. Like, come on, it's Starfield. What good can't even happen here at this point?
You look at my recent slate of uploads, you won't see that many new Starfield videos in there.
Sad.
And that's not because of a lack of trying, it's because there's not much new to talk about when it comes to this game. Whether it is an announcement, an article, or even an interview or two, it's been pretty slim pickings for us as of late. So
Even Todd Howard's constant lies have dried up at this point. Starfield truly just feels completely forgotten and abandoned at this point. It's not even a joke. It's like nothing's happening at all. It just came out, it failed, everyone hated it, and that's it. That's the end.
I think it's absolutely warranted at this stage to have this discussion. What is going on with the game? What is the update when it comes to new content and DLC and shattered space and mod support?
Bro's talking about new content like Starfield has added a single piece of new content since release. Hell no, they can't even make proper bug fixes without introducing new bugs and not actually fixing the bugs that they claim. But new content? What do you mean?
And the new features that BGS said were still coming to the game this year, like with city maps and new ways of traveling and stuff like that. So that is the question we're going to try and...
City maps, boys. A year is gonna pass before we get city maps.
Tackle in today's video. I'm genuinely interested to hear your thoughts in the comments below. But if you enjoyed this video and you find it helpful, please like, subscribe if you're new, with notifications if that's possible. But let's start off looking at Starfield's previous update. So Starfield's previous update went into Steam beta on the 6th of March, and then it had its full release on the 19th of March, so almost 2 weeks after the fact. And if you look at that update, by and large, like with every update for Starfield since the launch of the game, by and large, it was about bug fixes. That has been the consistent theme for all of Starfield's updates.
Bug fixes, they say. How many times did they fix the meteor that was following you non-stop? 3? 4? And we still don't even know if it's actually fixed. There's not enough people to actually test if the bug fix did anything. Half of their bug fixes don't even fix anything. Their updates, for example, the lighting update, last one, people didn't even know which is the new lighting and which is the old lighting when compared, because some places looked worse than with the old lighting system. So yeah, there you kind of go.
They've mostly been about bug fixes. Now, there have been some new features here and there, especially when you look at that last update. They added an improvement to photo mode, where you can set expressions and poses for your character in photo mode and your companions as well. And they have...
I'm so sure photo mode is like the biggest feature that everyone wants in Starfield. Now, admittedly, let's be completely real here for a second, okay? The real feature that everyone wants in Starfield is a complete scrapping of the game and starting anew and firing whoever was the idiot who wrote all of the dialogues here, because it's abysmally bad and they should feel bad. But instead they go on Twitter tirades saying that they're the best writer ever and that people are just too stupid to understand his masterpiece of work. By the way, the same guy that's working on... Elder Scrolls 6, boys. Does that not just install confidence in it, people? Oh boy.
Have been quality of life improvements, changes and improvements to the PC settings menu and stuff like that. So there absolutely have been new features, but by and large, it's absolutely mostly been about bug fixes. And I haven't criticized Bethesda Game Studios for that, mind you. If you look at my previous videos, and I'll say it again right now, that stuff was absolutely necessary. If you look at the game state at launch, I don't think it was too bad, especially compared to previous launches for BGS, but there were bugs that needed to be fixed. There were absolutely quest blocks.
Was it not? There were literally quests that prevented people from loading, saving, playing the game, and so many other things that got fixed in half a year or so at this point.
Blockers that needed to be addressed, and there were areas where the game's performance could be improved. And it was on Bethesda Game Studios to do that. No one else could do that for them. Like, mods are limited right now because we don't have the full mod kit and stuff like that. So BGS needed to be the ones to do that. And it was important for them to do so, because if people were ever going to come back to the game to try and experience the DLC in Shattered Space, you don't want them to be experiencing the exact same bugs they were experiencing at launch, because that's a bad look. Most people are just going to dash after that. So I said that those bug fixes and those updates were absolutely a priority and very important for Bethesda Game Studios.
Okay.
So it's good. It's very good that they've done so. However, we are now at the stage where we are genuinely asking the question, well, where's the new content, right? Where is the DLC that you long announced for Starfield in the form of Shattered Space? You announced that before the launch of the game. We haven't heard any more information, any new information about Shattered Space since. We don't know if there's going to be any other DLC for the game. We still don't quite know when mod support is coming and stuff like that. So
Dude, Shattered Space is going to be such a devastating disaster. It's going to be hilarious. Because it's probably going to have still this fucking shitty planet generation. Because keep in mind, when Shattered Space releases, they effectively just need to add a new part of the map, which has like 200 more AI-generated planets. There is no other way to do an expansion at this point, like for this game. Because your selling point for the main game is, oh, there's a billion planets. And that's it. And now imagine you have to pay 40, 50, or however much Bethesda is gonna ask of you to play Shattered Space, and it's gonna be what? Maybe one planet? Hell no! They need to like add 200 more of these garbage AI generated planets, and it's gonna have like one custom made location or two. It's gonna be a disaster.
all of us are legitimately asking the question right now, when is this new content going to be releasing for Starfield? So let's look at that. BGS earlier this year did say that Starfield's going to be receiving updates every 6 weeks or so. And to their credit, BGS have absolutely been hitting that cadence. So if you look at the previous update, we should be receiving the next update for Starfield, at least in Steam beta, in a couple of weeks or so. And then the full release to console and to the rest of PC will be after that. Now, some people might be saying, well, maybe that's going to be the DLC. Maybe that's going to be new content or Shattered Space and something like that.
What?
I don't think so. If that was going to be new DLC and new content, let alone Shattered Space, we'd absolutely know it by now. BGS would be making much more of a fanfare because that's the big deal, right? A lot of people have stopped playing Starfield because there's not new content to experience. So that's a big announcement, and that's when people are going to be coming back to the game. So absolutely the marketing machine at BGS.
God, we already talked about this. This is the stupidest and funniest cutscene ever. Not cutscene, but trailer or whatever this was supposed to be ever. We already talked about this, but it's so hilarious. So this girl, keep in mind, she's living in the space age. Space travel is completely normal, and here the whole trailer is premised on the idea that she has never seen a spaceship take off. And then there's this guy right here, who's just randomly, for no reason, walking around
New content to experience.
the launch pad, and then he just notices a random black kid for some reason. And obviously, by the way, that is very important. That's why I'm highlighting it. See the diversity, you bigot. Anyway, he notices the kid,
Experience.
and
So-
he's just like, and
That's a big announcement,
And then
and
he
that's when
goes to
people
the
are going to be
kid.
coming back to the game.
he looks back because he's confused. Why is the kid staring at me? Like, no one has ever stared at you, my dude, in your life. Like, come on. And then he just walks up to the kid
So absolutely.
like some kind of goddamn hero in the space age where everyone is flying around places constantly. This is such commonplace that there's not even a real barrier here. The barrier, for some reason, is just enough so the kid's not even protected. What's the point of this even? I don't know. It's so hilarious. Also, again, the dreadlocks. You know, this is the token black female thing. You know, the token black men thing is the dreads on one side of the head. That one, you know, that Overwatch has, that Valorant has, that everyone has. Man, The token hairstyles are probably the most hilarious thing, honestly, about all of this. It must be dreads because reasons.
Absolutely, the marketing machine at BGS and Bethesda is going to be behind that announcement. I don't think out
And then he just randomly gives her some kind of fucking garbage crap.
of nowhere, they're just
And she's for some reason like, oh my god, game changer. Well, this makes sense on no fucking level.
gonna shadow drop shattered space.
And
Even
then
if
he just goes away like it's not a big, like it's some kind of big deal, and he blasts off into space. How? This is the worst cutscene animation or whatever this is supposed to be ever. Holy!
if it's a Steam beta, there's no way that they're doing that. And I could eat my words, I could be wrong about that. But I think if Shattered Space is coming, we're going to know about that weeks out in advance. So my best guess is that the next update is going to be mostly about bug fixes. And maybe not even as big as the previous bug fix update, because that one was pretty...
Literally lives in the space age, jumps to a planet and is like, wow!
big when it comes to bug fixes. Hundreds of them. But I still think it's mostly going to be about bug fixes, and maybe we receive, city maps.
He's so excited about killing people also.
Maybe we receive save file thumbnails, which is what I've been talking about for a while. Maybe we get one or two big features that they've said are coming to the game. But I don't think it's going to be Shattered Space. I don't think it's going to be DLC. So why do things feel so slow? When it comes to updates for Starfield, it's been a big talking point recently. Things just feel slow when it comes to new content and new updates and stuff like that. So let's look at that. Now, Starfield, as we know, launched last year in September. So we're about 7 months or so removed after the launch of the game. And it feels like, and I feel like a lot of people feel this way, but it feels like we probably should have received new content by now, right? Because if you look at Fallout 4's DLC cadence, it was much, much faster. And I only noted this and realized this when a viewer pointed...
Yeah, but Fallout 4 also was a way better game than 76, and Fallout 4 was not that great to begin with. But again, after playing Starfield for 4 hours, I can safely attest Fallout 4 is mind-boggling amazing as a game compared to Starfield. Like, Starfield really highlights how good some other games are. Like, before Starfield, Fallout 4 was, kind of mid-ish, it was playable, it was replayable, it was fun, but it wasn't really that special, especially compared to the better games, right? But after Starfield, man, it puts into perspective that Fallout 4 was a goddamn masterpiece. Skyrim was a double masterpiece, okay?
It out on a previous video of mine. So I want to break this down for you because it's quite a stark difference when you compare it to BGS's next big game. We're going to exclude 76 for a bit, but when you compare Fallout 4 to their next big single player game in the form of Starfield, it's quite a stark difference. So Fallout 4 was released on the 10th of November 2015, right? Now, Fallout 4 had a number of different updates for the game. The first one was Automatron. That was their first add-on. And that was released on the 22nd of March 2016. So about 4 months or so after the launch of the game. The next update was Wasteland Workshop, and that was released on the 12th of April 2016, so 5 months after launch. Then you had Far Harbor, which was their first really big piece of DLC content and story content for the game. That was released on the 19th of May 2016, so just over 6 months after the launch of the game. Contraptions was then released on the 21st of June 2016, so about 7 months or so after the launch of Fallout 4. Vault-Tec Workshop was released on the 26th of July 2016, and the Nuka World was finally released on the 29th of August 2016. So when you look at Fallout 4 and how quickly or frequently it released, or it had, updates come to the game when it comes to DLC and new story content and stuff like that, by this stage, with Fallout 4, just over 7 months removed from the launch of the game, we already had Automatron, Wasteland Workshop, and Far Harbor. And we were just about to receive Contraptions, right? That's what we had already received over 7 months after the launch of Fallout 4. Whereas with
Yeah, because again, Fallout 4 was received way better than Starfield. They probably saw the average player numbers for Starfield. What? 1/3 of players don't get past the 2-hour mark or something like that? And that was previously. Now it's probably even worse.
Starfield, we have not received one piece of DLC content in terms of stories and quest lines. It's all been about bug fixes. So that is a big reason why it's felt very slow for Starfield, because they're literally their last previous big single player game was Fallout 4, and we received so many more updates for that game much more quickly. So that's the first reason. The second reason as to why things feel a little bit slow for Starfield is that BGS's communication style is quite slow. It's been one of the criticisms, as much as I love BGS and I did like Starfield, and I'll continue to talk about the game, but one of the criticisms that many people, including myself, have had with BGS's communication style is that they don't talk that often, right? They don't really talk to us about their games and development all that often. Outside of random tweets here and there, we don't really hear from them unless it's time for an update or a Steam beta patch or something like that. And I would also say as well, they probably announced Shattered Space too early. Some people would also use Elder Scrolls 6 as an example here. They talked about that game too early. I think the situation for that game was quite different. But with Shattered Space, they released or announced that before.
I don't know anything about announcing it too early or whatever. Didn't feel like that at all to me.
For the release of the game, the launch of the game. And since we haven't heard about it since, and we don't hear from them that often when it comes to official...
Constellation skin pack? What, am I dreaming? Oh my lord. Ooh, that's so good.
That often when it comes to official updates for Starfield, that's why it feels so slow. And then when you compare that to Fallout 4, only 3 months after the launch of that game, they did this big announcement where they released a DLC roadmap for the game that included Automatron, Wasteland Workshop, and Far Harbor as part of that. So that's also...
Again, Bethesda, Xbox, Microsoft, all of... They see the numbers. They see the actual, Starfield numbers. And they are abysmal. We already know this. Their player retention is one of the worst ever seen. Their, everything is one of the worst ever seen. The reviews on YouTube, at this point, I think it's impossible to find a single positive review about this game in the last, 2 months. I don't think that even exists. I haven't seen it. But negatives, yeah, sure. I mean, everything about this game is negative. No exploration in an exploration game, loading screen simulator, crafting sucks, skills sucks, skill tree sucks, challenges suck, story sucks. Everything about this game is bad. You really need to dive deep into the most obscure parts of this garbage dumpster fire to find anything that can unironically be called good. Okay? Even the thing that people tried to say was really, really fun at the start, like for example, shipbuilding is actually trash because all the ship mechanics are bad, and the shipbuilder itself is very unintuitive, and in a lot of cases... Is it snowing out? Yeah, it's snowing outside. Wow, that is unexpected. And, there's so many of these, completely as bad things that make no sense, and it's just... Why? How? Sad? Please stop. It's just not working, okay? There's nothing good about this game to say even.
Also why I mentioned that maybe they announced Shattered Space too early, because we've been waiting on it since the launch of the game pretty much, whereas with Fallout 4, we were happy to wait because we were playing the game, and then 3 months after launch, they're like, hey, here's the DLC, here's what's going to be coming to the game, this is going to be releasing in the coming months. I think all those reasons combined is probably why Starfield has felt very, very slow when it comes to new updates, when it comes to communication and stuff like that. So I definitely think there are lessons to be learnt on BGS's side moving forward.
So Starfield updates feel slow because they are slow. Let that sink in.
But when it comes to Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5, and indeed all of their future projects, I think they need to pace this stuff a little bit better. But I think one of the big reasons as well as to why we haven't received any big content updates for Starfield, it's not just because they're taking their time with it. I absolutely believe that's the case. But I also think that Fallout 4 Next Gen is taking a big chunk of their resources. We know that Fallout 4 is getting its Next Gen update sometime this year. It was meant to be last year, but now it's this year. And I've always suspected that they're going to try and tie in the Next Gen update as closely as possible to the release date of the Fallout TV show. We know that Amazon is going to be doing a Fallout TV show. It's coming out on the 12th of April. I suspect a big chunk of the people at BGS are crunching on that to get the Next Gen update released as closely as possible to the TV show And they've probably realized that that task is bigger than they first thought, right? If it wasn't as big as they first thought, we would have received it last year. But because it was delayed and because we had this TV show now with an imminent release date of 12th of April, I think they probably moved more people from Starfield onto Fallout 4 just to get that out the door. And therefore, that's affected the development of DLC and content for Starfield. So that's just my speculation. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But as I mentioned, new content is
Oh, gee, it's actually really snowing outside. Wow. Wasn't it supposed to be almost summer?
absolutely needed ASAP. And as I said, bug fixes are good. They're important. They absolutely need to be prioritized. But looking at Fallout 4 and just looking about, how far removed we are from the launch of Starfield, it's over 7 months now. People are absolutely itching for new content, myself included.
I don't think most people are itching for new content. If they try to sell a new DLC, like, who's gonna buy it at this point? I'm not gonna buy it. I'm just gonna laugh about how pitifully bad it is. Most people are just gonna laugh about how pitifully bad it is without playing it. Starfield has died. It is completely, without question, the fact. Anyway, that was your own Vault Wanderer. Fallout news! Yay! I'm happy. It always puts a smile on your face to shit a little bit of doubt about that Starfield, huh? Anyway, this was Cruiser Sensei. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.